Conversations about sex are taboo in most parts of Africa. The very mention of sex evokes a sense of impropriety. Many people who grew up in Africa would testify they never saw their parents or adults be affectionate to each other. How can they enjoy sex and enjoy marriage if it's very lifeblood? It's something we shouldn't have conversation about. It's something we cannot approach. Welcome to the Summon, the African Summon, where we connect you to Africa and African culture. In today's edition, we're talking about sex. And we're taking you back to the village of Meta, the tribe of Kai, where its Mafo shares her wisdom with us in helping us unravel this subject of sex. Please invite your friends, family, and loved ones and join us at the fireside for this wonderful conversation. And while you're at it, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share. Welcome, Mafo.
Thank you, Marilyn, and happy Sunday.
Mafo, it's so great to have you back. So much has happened since our last conversation, and we are glad you could come back and share your wisdom with us. So before we start, I'd just like for you to tell us a little bit about your tribe. Tell us, if we were visiting, what would you like for us to see? Tell us a little bit about your people, what they eat, the dressing, just share with us.
Okay, the Meta tribe, or the Meta people, are from the Widikum tribe origin. And when we talk about Meta, everybody will think about palm oil, we think about Namtari, Ngomtari, we think about Abi Fall and Bengui. And our dress is usually the normal Bamenda dress, but if it comes to traditional dance, we have the traditional wear that is made out of fiber, like a wando, to tie it and then we dance with it. Our usual dance are Mokongwe and Anu. Those are the dances of Meta people.
Oh, wonderful. Well, today we are talking about a subject which most Africans never talk about. It's not mentioned. It exists, but we don't talk about it. So we are glad that you would grace us with the ability to learn about the culture surrounding this subject and how our people could better enjoy sex. So Mafo, tell us, how do your people regard sex culturally, and how has it been done in the past, and what is sex?
Yes, my daughter. Really, sex in our culture is not something that we talk like me and you are talking like this and actually calling it sex. The action takes place, but people do not talk about it. They just do the action. And of course, sex, as you know, if we want to define sex, sex is the relationship, the intimate relationship between a man and a woman. And in our culture, before, when you hear our parents talking about sex, they just want to give you education to avoid being pregnant, having a premature pregnancy, either the point of view of the girl or the boy going to pregnant another girl. So, but for families, parents to sit down and talk about sex with their children, it was rare. Nevertheless, when a girl is mature, the mother, the parents sometimes will sit down to tell her that, you are mature, like when you are menstruating. Your menses is something that is natural, it's okay for you to have it, and this is how you have to manage it, without telling you that it's that menses that will lead you to pregnancy. I never heard that when I was growing, and I don't think the Meta women or parents will do that to their children. But nowadays, or nevertheless, our parents knew how to cut their wives without talking. They just took the action. For example, you see a Meta man who will voluntarily go to the farm with the wife. The man will be cutting the grass, and then the wife will be plowing the ridges. At the end of the farm, before it is time for them to go, the man will leave earlier. If it's a hunter, will go and check the traps, go and get his palm wine, and get home early. By the time the wife gets home, he's already there. He'll serve some wine to the wife, and maybe had some meat from the trap. Will give the wife. Already the wife is happy. The husband is in farm with you, did the farming with you, and now he has meat for you. He has some palm wine for you to drink. There's nothing more a woman would want from, in the village, a woman would want from a man. Then, of course, us, we grew up not seeing our parents sleeping together. One, the situation, the setup, the layout of the houses. There were these little huts, and then the man has his own house in the center. So you don't even know when your mothers slept with your parent, with your father. We never saw them sleeping together, but we saw women having babies. Let me tell you, when they want me, that don't even go closer to a man. To me, I believe that even if I had to go to a dance somewhere and the guy is just pulling me closer to him, I was going to be pregnant. I didn't know that there was an act of sex. So, that being said, sometimes you converse, like back home, I used to converse with elderly women when I go to fair. I was a grassroots worker. We have this symposium, we talk to mature women, to young ones. Some of them will say, Mama, as you see us like this. Some of them have 10 kids. For those 10 kids, maybe they've had sex with their husband just when they go to look for the children. Wow. So sex for them was not meant just to enjoy. Sex for them was for procreation, to have children, and that's it. So some of them will say, as you see, I went and had this child. As soon as I was pregnant, that was it. When the child is 2 years, 2.5 years, she goes back again and meet the husband and have the baby. Which that is not how God made sex. God made sex for us to enjoy it in marriage. Like something that is enjoyable, that brings you guys more closer. It doesn't mean that they were not close. They accepted it because that was the way their culture, they grow up to understand that is how it is.
So essentially, their ignorance on how pleasurable sex could be led them to not necessarily miss anything. So as long as they were having children, as long as they were having the act of sex and living, they were living in a bliss of ignorance, so to speak. But yes, with the coming of television and globalization, where people are traveling and are being exposed to more knowledge, it has become essential that we have those conversations with our kids. We have them so that our values are not compromised. So people still understand the sanctity of marriage. They still understand the need to keep yourself, this treasurable gift for a husband or a wife. It's still, those values are still fundamentally there. Just that give sex its place, its due place. Understand just how much more pleasure you can have in it. And if you don't know, then you will hate marriage because you feel like you're not getting what you're supposed to need. Whereas it's because the culture and the history of your people just keep you behind in a way of the past, so to speak. Am I right, Mama?
Yes, Marilyn. Let me tell you, some of them are so even ignorant that they can get to orgasm. Sex is just sex. They don't even understand what you are talking about or what is orgasm. So there are women who have been there, they've had maybe 6 to 7 children, they never had any orgasm at all in their lives. And they had nothing to compare with. So it's what they have and they appreciate it and they stay there. But these days with, like you say, all civilization, the media is there, there are books and so on, we need to give the important place that sex has in our marriages, in our homes.
So, Mafo, how would you encourage parents to actually approach the subject? It's something that some of them never had their parents talk to them naturally about, and they don't even have the wives and husbands are not having the conversations amongst each other. So what are some of the things you would encourage parents to actually say to their children to prepare them for marriage and even after marriage? With regards to sex, naturally, you're not telling them go have sex before marriage, but what are some things that you would suggest they say to them to start the conversation and make them comfortable bringing it up in their homes?
I mean, it's just going to advise them about having an open mind, have an open mind, have a communication with your children about what sex is all about. It's a gift from God that you need to discover with your husband and enjoy it. If it is not going the way you want, talk with him, with your partner or her. Talk with your partner. You guys will discover yourselves and enjoy the sex, educate yourselves about what is there, discover your bodies so that you can enjoy sex more. Relax and have it.
So it's been said that with the way the African culture has gone, some marriages have actually suffered because they believe that, okay, when I have a husband or a wife, the relationship I should have with them is so holy that other than having sex for procreation, that's where it should end. The people with whom I should enjoy sex are the people, okay, the people who experience that pleasurable sex are prostitutes. They are free girls in town. So it's almost believed that you need to go out to enjoy that. And somehow it's led to adultery, where not necessarily because people want to be adulterous, they just believe that they should go express themselves with somebody outside, and before long, it becomes an adulterous marriage. And there's a concept that men are flirtatious or they will cheat or stuff like that. How would you encourage couples to actually be able to start these conversations in their homes? Please speak to our couple. So Manford, tell us, how would you encourage couples to actually have conversations about sex, to be able to get them to discover each other and mature in their sexual relationships so it's pleasurable at home?
Yeah, at this point, I think all parents, when their kids are going into marriage, should be able to have an open conversation with their kids on how to be open to their partners so that they can discover themselves in marriage and grow in their sex life and enjoy it better. Yeah. If they get into communication, real communication about their sex life, that's going to help them. Even those that are already inside, that is the only encouragement, because no third person is going to help them to discover themselves or how their sex life is supposed to be. It's only the two people, the couple, that needs to do that. And once they do that wholeheartedly, things are going to work. They will learn to know what each of them like, how to do it, when the other person needs our tradition, that idea of, the African woman or the Meta woman generally is very shy to ask the husband about sex, to say that I need sex. Usually very difficult. The second thing, they have the impression that if you ask the man, say, since when do you want to stand on money? Now, quarter walk this, things like that. Mm-hmm. But these days, it's not like that. If you are in, it's your husband. Your husband is your husband. It's your wife. You need it. Ask your wife how you need it. Tell your wife, this is how I need it. This is how I like it. And then you guys find a middle place, where it can please the both of you.
So how often should people have sex? Is this something they should have every day? Where should they have sex? What are the things they can do to spice up their sex lives and make sure that they have more opportunities to explore this adventure?
Personally, I think that is up to the couple. If they want it every day and they're capable of up to the task of sex every day, they do it. If they want to do it just once a month or twice a day, if they're up to it, they do it.
Once a month? Is that still marriage?
Of course, that's marriage. There are people who can maybe have it just once a month. If the man
Well,
has a back pain or waist pain, what do you expect him to do?
not my husband.
Uh,
Okay, so maybe find out what's working. Maybe you have work which is keeping you really busy,
you're
and you
busy, but you
cannot,
need to find
and
time.
you have to find time. But it brings us to the point where yes, you may be busy, but you make sure your partner understands that when you have a chance, you will engage them. They can see that you're trying to find a time to make time for them too. So it's not as if you're using work as a
Work as
hideout,
a pretext.
as a
Mhm.
pretext to be away. So what about other ways to spice up the marriage, dressing, and other adventures they can add to it?
For women should look attractive at all times. They shouldn't be in their racks in the house. Should prepare food, put the food on the table, eat with your husband together on the table, have good conversations, have a good smile, good words, no cursing, respect. Oh, I'm telling you, some of our mothers back home, if I would tell you the way I saw them respecting their husband, I'm like, even when they are wrong, they are willing to tell the husbands, I'm sorry for what I've done today and what I'm going to do tomorrow, just to bring peace. And nothing happened to them. But this our generation these days, I'm not sure. Me, I was even able to do that, like what I saw some of my mothers do, you know. But I think dressing, the way you talk, the respect, the mutual talking between you guys will spice and, water your sex life. Also, if you can change, maybe go out for little dinners, go out for movies, go out for some picnic, go to the beach, go some excursions, go to the mall, just change of environment will spice it, make it look so different and wonderful.
Are there some places you could suggest, like in the Northwest region, around Cameroon, where you can tell people, give them ideas on where to go?
You have the monastery, you have the Abbey Falls, there is a resort there, you have the Awing Lake, you have the ranch, Dawara Ranch, that people can always just go there. And you have Kribi, you have the beach in Limbe, you have the beach in Douala, you have good places in Yaoundé all around. You have Fumban that you can go. The Sultan's Palace in Fumban is a good place to visit.
I'm curious, when I ask, and you first list a monastery. I have not been, so I'm trying to understand. Is it a beautiful location to go see? I'm just wondering how to send couples to a monastery. I'm thinking they're going there to pray or something. Please
Yeah,
help.
they will pray, but they will still have sex. That's like they're a couple. It's a holy ground. They have other things they can visit. They have animals. They have poultry. They have other things. They have honey, bee farms that they can visit to see how people can cultivate honey. They have other things that will just change their mind.
But there are moments when a problem cannot be resolved. Maybe the people are not understanding. A man is not understanding precisely what his wife is saying, or the woman is not understanding what her husband is saying. And so the dead end, where's a safe place for them to go to have a third party really help resolve, talk to them and help them see each other's vantage point?
The first place would be just your family member, either the man's family or the woman's family. Because your family will never sell you out. Not friends. Friends are not the best. Family. When it's above family, then now you can go to church. If it is above church, then you can get a counselor. Somebody who is a specialist in that field, a social worker who would come in actually to tell you the different rules. That person will have strategy to get something out of you. By the time he or she converse with you, will come up with an answer. And there is this trick, this game of always couples doing. At the end of the year, the both of you could always just write out the good and bad things, the positive and negative. And then you guys weigh them. You give yours to him, he gives his to you. And then you see how to balance them up. What can you do to, reorientate what is going on or fix what is going on?
So what I hear is that sex is actually, maybe when you get married, it may not be the greatest, or you may not even know that it's the greatest, but it grows. It grows over the years. So doing that evaluation helps you to see how you've grown. It also helps you to see how maybe your partner has some needs you could meet the next year, and you try to see how to keep developing it as you learn more about each other and grow. But just the fact that you guys have an open mind to learn about each other, an open mind to be able to make the other person happier, you have that desire to do that. Because some people really just hold sex because they think it's a way to control the other person. So if I deprive you of this, I'll force you to do something for me.
That's not it all. You can't do that. I mean, that is something that God has given to all of us freely that we should enjoy. If you don't have it from your husband, or your husband doesn't have it from you, you are depriving him from it. It is not right. Sex is something that you should use it to bind your home, come more closer to your wife or to your husband, and not use it against one another. No.
And the final question would really be with regards to the effect that globalization is having on our people. Seldom do you find people from the same tribe getting married nowadays. They get married, other tribes within the Northwest, other tribes in Cameroon, Africa, and the world. What are some things you'd encourage people to educate themselves on, to really to know about the other person? Because, it's like they say that the person you date is different from the person you marry, that dating is completely different from marriage. And so what you're seeing is not really what you see in marriage. What are those things that you don't want them to jump into marriage and find out, which they could easily find out before?
I mean, what every person wants in marriage that they want to see is different. It's all different from one person to the other. But what I would say is just make sure you take your time to cross-check your list of what you want in a man or a woman. Is this the type of man I want? Where does this man grow? What are his or what environment he grew in? What the parents do? What are his beliefs? What is the culture of the people? What is their tradition? When you get all that and you think that that's something you can go, then you can go in. You can get a checklist and cross-check if they go.
Mama, so in case of conflict, how would you encourage a couple to resolve conflict? It's been said that so many times problems really emanate from a deficiency in their sexual lives and manifest in other things. And that's the kind of problem they'll bring to you. Oh, he did not appreciate my clothing, whereas it's not really the clothing, it's something else you're trying to say is wrong. How would you encourage couples to resolve marital problems?
The only encouragement for couples to resolve their problem is to dialogue, to communicate. The two key people in that marriage should be the main people to talk sincerely. Have a sincere dialogue about what is the problem. If it is more than them, then they can invite a third person who is a member of the family, either the man's family or the woman's family. If that is above them, then they can get somebody from the church. If the church is above them, then they can get a specialist, which will be a counselor, a social worker, somebody who knows. By the time the person gets out of there, the person will get into the depth of the thing, just by simple role play questions. I think that would be the better way to do it.
But really what you're saying is that for the safety of the marriage, and it's always a risk when you bring a third party into your marriage. And yes. So you would encourage couples to be sincere to each other. Trust, yes, be willing to make the other person happy is the key. And if you're willing, then any dialogue you get into, there is hope for that dialogue.
Yes.
So I was saying that you were saying essentially it's in the dialogue, in the willingness to make the other person happy. That once the two people are really sincerely interested in making each other happy, then the conversations or the intervention will work. But if they are not, it doesn't matter what's going on.
Even if it is heaven that comes down, it's not going to solve any problem, because they're not going to be open to talk. Or they will just talk and they say, okay, I will change, and nothing happens tomorrow. I'm saying that if the both of them are willing to please one another, then they'll have a sincere dialogue. If they don't, or one person is and one is not, that other one who is not will just be okay, and then nothing happens. So even heaven comes from down to top. Heaven will talk and go, and then the same thing will stay. Nothing is going to change.
Now, so in the middle of globalization, we have people getting married to people from all continents of the earth, and this, including different parts of Africa or Cameroon, as in your case. These people have different cultures, different customs, different practices. They've grown up differently. And these things ultimately affect the enjoyment of sex within the marriage. What are some of the things you would encourage couples trying to get married to pay attention to, and how critical could those things be to the health of their sex life?
I think that what people have to pay attention to depends on different individuals. What I might like to pay attention to might not be what you want. So whatever you think is of interest and you pay attention, you can make a list according to your priorities. Number 1 is more important, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. If you meet that, check like where whoever you're getting married to, where the person comes from, the background of the family, the environment the person grew in, their culture, their beliefs and culture, their lifestyle, their likes and dislikes, things like that. And when you find out all that and you see that they meet what you need, okay, then you can go along. What you don't get what you need, and maybe it's about 20 or 30%, and you think you can live with that 20, 30%, okay, then you go with it. But if you think that's something you cannot live with, it's better just to go, because it's not when you are in that is when it change.
So I'm very interested in the percentage. So let's say somebody meets 70, 90% of my checklist, like you put it. What about that 10%, 30%? I almost find it to really be critical, because is the approach to find out if it's something you can live with, or just because they made 70%, it's okay to go with them?
No, you have to tell yourself that, is this 30% that is not really what I need? Is this what I can live with? If that's what I can live with, then you go along and live with it. If that's what you think you might get in and change, then you'll be working towards something that you cannot achieve. Because it's not easy to change adults.
And this just brings us to the point of where dating is so different from marriage. When people are dating, they put the best part of them out there. They, just like you go to a store, everybody puts their best products up front to attract customers. But when you get under a pile of tomatoes, for example, that's where the rotten ones are found. You turn the bucket over and you soon find out that it was not what it looked like at the top. Similarly, people would not tell you. So maybe visiting their settings and seeing how they interact with their friends, their family, what are some of those things that could be a pointer? How important is the background check that even the parents do in helping this situation, Mama?
The background check is very important. But tell me, if you're going to get, let's say, living Kaide to come and marry a man, for example, let me just say I get married to a man who is a Nigerian. What background check, what good background check can I have concerning a Nigerian? or a Yaoundé man. I don't know their family, I don't know their history, I don't know nothing. My family doesn't know anything about them. But the truth is, if you visit that family 1 or 2 times, you can already sense a few things. You can see how clean they are. You can see how they talk to one another. You can even see how they talk to you. You can see how they talk to their parents. And it will give you some idea about the type of family or type of person you are going in with.
And sometimes they say love is blind. You know, you may see those things, and if you don't have like your family backup to help you say, hey, really pay attention to this, you may see it and it will only come clear to you later.
I think sometimes, yeah, it depends. Let's take, for example, cleanliness, right? Cleanliness in a home. You might discover that this guy is so disordered. He throws things everywhere. And you take upon yourself that no matter what, I love him, I'll be there to put the things together. And you do it judiciously to put the things together. Is he happy that you put those things together? Now it depends how he receives it. You understand?
You make a really good point there, because in some
the other person should be ready to accept your cleanliness, because maybe to him or her it's not cleanliness. You just maybe trying to disturb him or her. So
that's a really good point. Mm-hmm.
I've had couples where the man was everywhere you enter the house, there is even nowhere to put your leg. Clothes everywhere, shoes everywhere. But the wife came in and made sure that things were well placed, clean, everything. But at the end of the day, the man doesn't appreciate that she's doing anything that is good. Oh, why did you move this my thing from here to put the other way? So, you know, that's how the upbringing is different.
So the value system is so, the fact that you are a degree holder, for example, don't expect everybody to appreciate the fact that you're a degree holder, because some people may find it as, they may be intimidated that a spouse has a certain level of education. So you think you're bringing something that will support your family, but you don't realize you're the person you call cute, the person you call wealthy, the person you call this finds that intimidating to them. They are not very comfortable. And so that in and of itself makes them uncomfortable in your presence. When others honor you, when others respect you, they start feeling like their ego gets in the place and starts breaking down the marriage. Mm-hmm.
Breaking down the marriage, and goes all the way to kill your sex drive.
You know, I heard a story where somebody was glad that the wife got sick so they could not go to work and continue to be successful. You know, so, some little things like that, you know. All right. So any last words for our audience, Grandmama?
Just for people to relax and actually enjoy sex, be open-minded about it, not be scared. This is a gift from God. So it's not something that is a taboo. It's not something you have to be ashamed of. You have to do it with pride so that you can enjoy it. Talk about it so that you can have the enjoyment.
And with that, I would just like to encourage our people. Challenge yourself and say to yourself, sex is good. I want sex. You know, say these words to yourself and know that in the setting of marriage, it's okay to tell your partner what you want, to talk to them and be honest with them and find out what they want, you know, and strive to meet their need. If you love this content, please subscribe to our channel, like our video and share. I am Manondo Akono, and until next time, I want to say thank you for responding to this sermon.